Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. I have another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review for you today. This is Armaggon, the Bounty Hunter Space Shark. I actually just found this 2 days ago at Toys R Us. I didn't even know this was out yet. So it was a pretty exciting find for me. But he looks pretty neat, as you can see here in the packaging. Turning it around, if you'd like to read his bio, I will try to zoom in there for you. So go ahead. Now I can tell you right off the bat there are some paint apps here on the card that are not actually on the toy itself, but we'll get into that as we look closer at the figure. Looking at the back down here, shows a Ninja Kick Raph, Ninja Kick Mikey, and then Ninja Strike Leo and Donnie. And there's also Human Karai. Then there's the Shadow Ninja Color Change Mikey and Leo. They're basically like dunk them in water and they change color. And then over here, I think these are pretty much all figures we've seen already. Nothing really new over here. So that's it for the card. But it's a pretty neat looking figure. We'll go ahead, we'll get it out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here he is out of the packaging. His head is definitely kind of tiny in regards to the rest of his body, which is kind of funny. But he does have the giant clamping down shark mouth. Unfortunately, mine has a big red paint mark there. I doubt that's supposed to be there. So that's kind of a bummer. I don't know, I'll just pretend it's like blood or something, battle damage or something, I don't know. But in any case, articulation is decent. He's got this kind of typical shoulder joint where it goes up and down, but can also spin all the way around. It's a little hindered by the shoulder pad, but not so much that you can't make it work. And then he's got wrist movement. And then he's got the same kind of joint as the shoulder in the hip. So you can kind of go in and out to the side and also spin all the way around. And then he's got some ankle movement, which is nice. I kind of like to make him look a little bit squatter. So I might give him a little bit wider stance. I just kind of think that looks better. The other thing is he has these two accessories straight out of the packaging, which you have to attach. So this weird little nub in here is where the tail goes on. So you just plug that in. And that goes right in there. It doesn't really look like the tail moves at all. Once you get it in there, it's pretty stationary, which is kind of a bummer, but not a huge problem. And then you're just going to peg this fin in here on the back. There we go. So once you get them in, they don't really move. They just kind of stay in place. I really just kind of bit myself with his teeth. Should have found a better way to hold him when I was plugging that stuff in. Oh well, be careful of that. The teeth are a little sharp. I mean, not so much that you're going to cut yourself or anything, but if you really clamped it down on your finger, it would kind of hurt. So little kids, be aware of that. It's got some blasters here on the shoulder pads. They do not actually fire, but they're at least painted. I like that the missiles are painted red, but they don't fire out and they don't move. And the shoulders don't move at all, just the arms underneath the shoulders. So all in all, I mean, there's a little bit, you can see he's got some kind of like transistors or like machine parts here on his arm. You can see here that the ones on the back of his hand are painted solid black, and these have no paint apps. You can kind of hardly even see them. They kind of blend in really well, but they are there. I do appreciate the level of paint around his mouth and on his eyes and the gold there for his kind of goggles and the black. The only thing that's kind of weird is I thought he had this helmet as a way, like when he travels in space, but you can see it doesn't really enclose his head in any way. But I assume that's just limitations of the design of the toy. Because when you pop this open, you can't really have it enclosed, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking about it too much. A little bit of detail molded in here on the back, which is kind of cool. Overall, I think he's a neat toy. I mean, you don't get too many sharks in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so I appreciate that, you know, it's a new animal that we're not really used to, so I like that. I like making him a little bit more squat, but it kind of makes him bend over and look at the ground too much, so it's kind of a give and take there with posability. But I mean, for a big shark, I think he's got decent posability. You've got the shoulder and hip joints, which are the same, and then you've got the wrist movement, and then the ankle swivel there. And he's got big pegs in his feet, so if you want to peg him onto something, you can. I kind of wish he came with a blaster or some kind of accessory. That's kind of a bummer, but you can just use your imagination that he can fire the torpedoes. So he at least has some kind of weaponry. Plus, he can kind of come around and chomp on top of guys. There is enough room that if you had another figure, you could put like their hand or foot, and he could chomp down on it. So that's kind of cool. All in all, I do like the figure. I think he's nice. I mean, you know, there's always additional things they could do, but for price point, I think it's pretty good. Decent amount of posability, cool design. Would have just loved the inclusion of like a little blaster or something, a little weapon for him. It's the only thing I could really complain about. Otherwise, I think he's fun. I think he's neat, and I always love getting new mutant animals for a Ninja Turtle line, so I appreciate that. And I love the look of him with the mouth clamped down. You know, maybe a little bit of paint in the eyes or something, but again, I get budgetary constraints to keep this thing at around $9, so definitely a neat little figure. I think it's pretty good posability, and I think he's a fun design, so I definitely recommend him if you're collecting Ninja Turtle figures. I think this guy's one to pick up, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Armaggon from the TMNT line, and thanks for watching.